Have you ever really thought about what's going on inside your brain when a substance takes hold? From your morning cup of coffee to, well, something a lot stronger. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into the actual chemistry of the brain. All right, let's get into it. So that's the big question, right? What's really happening? Because behind every single feeling, every rush, every wave of calm, every weird distorted perception, there's a chemical reaction. It's like a tiny, microscopic battle for control of your own neurons. So to make sense of all this, here's our roadmap. We're going to start with a universal pattern that pretty much every substance follows. Then we'll break down the big categories, the uppers, the downers, and the ones that just bend reality. And finally, we'll look at the price the brain ultimately pays for all of this. Okay, so here's what's so fascinating. Almost every single drug experience, no matter how different it might feel, can be broken down into the exact same fundamental three-part journey. Think of it as a predictable cycle of promise, peak, and, well, payment. First, you've got the onset. That's the initial change, right? The feeling you were looking for. Then comes the peak. That's the most intense part of the whole experience. And finally, there's always the come down. That's the unavoidable return trip, and a lot of the time, it dips way below where you even started. Just keep this simple framework in your head as we go through this. All right, let's kick things off with the drugs that basically put the pedal to the metal. We're talking about stimulants. These are the chemicals designed to make you feel faster, sharper, and way more alive. So the core function here is just acceleration. Stimulants don't magically create energy out of nothing. They just bully your body into using up its existing energy reserves, just at a much, much faster rate. And the most common one? It's something billions of us use literally every single day. Yep, we're talking about caffeine. See, the way it works is by blocking a chemical in your brain called adenosine. Adenosine is basically the molecule that tells your brain, hey, you're tired. So coffee isn't really giving you energy, it's just a master of disguise, hiding how exhausted you actually are. It gives you that feeling of sharp, controlled power. But what happens when the caffeine wears off? Well, all that adenosine you were blocking comes flooding back in and you crash. You feel foggy, irritable, exhausted. We all joke about, oh, I need my coffee to function, but that feeling, that's actually a mild form of withdrawal, and we've just cleverly disguised it as a perfectly normal morning ritual. Okay, now let's crank the dial way, way up to a much more extreme upper. While caffeine just blocks your tiredness, cocaine completely floods your brain's reward circuit with dopamine. That's the pleasure chemical. So it doesn't just make you feel motivated, it makes you feel totally euphoric, untouchable. But the cost? It's astronomically higher. The high is incredibly short, and the crash is a massive dopamine deficit, which leaves you feeling anxious, paranoid, and just completely drained. And this is the really critical part. Your brain quickly learns to associate that insane flood of dopamine with survival itself. I mean, this reward system evolved to make us seek out things like food and human connection. But cocaine is a shortcut so powerful that it actually damages the system, making it feel almost impossible to get pleasure from normal, everyday things. All right, so we've covered the gas pedal. Now let's slam on the brakes and move to the total opposite end of the spectrum. Let's talk about depressants. Their entire goal is to slow everything down. So how do they do it? Well, these substances work by boosting the effects of GABA, which is the brain's main off switch, its primary inhibitory neurotransmitter. Depressants just make that off switch way more powerful, and that's what leads to feelings of relaxation, calm, and sedation. Let's start with the world's most popular one. Alcohol, it works by disrupting the communication between your brain cells, which at first feels great. You feel relaxed, less anxious. But here's the paradox, the illusion. At the exact same time it's slowing down your reaction time and messing with your judgment, it's also silencing the part of your brain that would normally be screaming, hey, maybe you should stop. Now let's compare that to opioids. See, while alcohol brings a kind of social warmth, opioids deliver this deep, heavy calm by latching onto these special sites called mu-opioid receptors, and they just shut down pain and stress. But just look at the difference in withdrawal. An alcohol hangover is unpleasant, for sure, but opioid withdrawal, it's a brutal, full-body crisis. It's every nerve in your body screaming for the drug. So why? Why is it so unbelievably brutal? The reason is that those mu-opioid receptors don't just control your mood, they regulate core survival functions like breathing. The brain actually rewires itself to believe that the drug is just as essential as oxygen. And when you take it away, the body goes into a state of absolute physical panic. Okay, so our final category. This one isn't about speeding up or slowing down. This is about changing the channel completely. Hallucinogens don't just mess with your mood. They fundamentally alter your perception of reality itself. These substances work mostly by interacting with the brain's serotonin system. Now, if dopamine is all about reward, you can think of serotonin as the brain's master conductor. It regulates everything from your mood and what you see and hear, all the way to your very sense of self and how you perceive time.
You know, a really common way people describe an experience with something like LSD isn't about seeing things that aren't there. It's more that the basic rules of reality, that objects are solid, that time moves in a straight line, that you are you. All of those things suddenly become fluid. They start to dissolve.
Now, what's really important to understand about a lot of these classic hallucinogens is that, unlike opioids or cocaine, they don't really cause physical addiction. The risk here is almost entirely psychological. The experience is so heavily influenced by your mindset and your environment, your set and setting, that the exact same dose could lead to this feeling of incredible cosmic unity or just absolute terrifying panic. So we've looked at the uppers, the downers, and the altered states. And yeah, they feel wildly different from each other, but they are all operating on the exact same organ. And every single time the brain is chemically hijacked like this, there is a long-term cost. This right here, this is the absolute core of addiction. The brain's reward system, the very thing that evolved to keep us alive by making us seek out food and shelter and connection, it gets hijacked. It's completely rewired to believe that the substance isn't just pleasurable, it is necessary for survival. And this hijacking leads to a really predictable set of consequences that you see across so many addictive substances. First, tolerance builds up, so you need more and more just to get the same feeling. Then withdrawal symptoms pop up whenever the drug is gone. And maybe the most tragic part, the brain's reward system becomes so numb, so desensitized, that all the normal, everyday joys of life just start to feel bland and colorless. When you boil it all down, every substance offers a kind of chemical connection, a connection to a feeling or a state of mind, or maybe just an escape. But as the brain rewires itself to chase that connection, it often comes at the cost of our connection to ourselves, to the people we love, and to a reality that just doesn't feel rewarding anymore on its own. Which leaves us with a final, really crucial question. Is that chemical connection worth the human disconnection?